We are live now.
Welcome to Vyapaar Jagat Talk Show. Welcome to fourth Saturday series of the Fempreneur 2023. Fempreneur Award is happening on 19th of March 2023 at Ahmedabad. I warmly welcome all the lovely ladies to join the Fempreneur to get the opportunity of networking and get yourself recognized with the Fempreneur Award. Today we have a wonderful couple, Miss Kavita and Dr. Abhay, and the one lovely moderator Ravika. Ravika, welcome to you on the show. Dr. Abhay and Miss Kavita, welcome you on Vyapaar Jagat show. Ravika is a MS consultant, happiness coach, many achievements she has in her bag. In India, we can say we are lacking so behind in the happiness index. So Devika is trying to improve our happiness index of our country. Now it is over to you, Devika. Please take care of the session.
Thank you so much, Ashna. Yes, so without much ado, I'd again like to welcome Dr. Kavita Pandey and Dr. Abhay Deshmukh to this session. And trust me, we are going to keep it very nice and candid because हमें आपसे बहुत कुछ जानना है. So I have like loads of things that I want to ask you. I had a brief chat with you yesterday, but I think I could go on with you, Kavita, at least because we've had this really nice, beautiful, warm chat. And I would love everybody watching this to make the most of whatever experience that she has had and get completely started on your entrepreneurial journey. So, on that note, Kavita, I'd really like to ask you that you're a first generation entrepreneur, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yes. So, could you please tell us a little about your journey in the world of business?
Okay. So, business hasn't started for me being I am into a core research. So, business came little later in my life. Actually, what happened that I pursued my PhD at that point of time. I did whole research and almost given almost 14 to 15 years of my life into it, and then some few things were figured out. Actually, I have carried out my research in the field of polymers, and then when as the time passed, I realized that it has some potential. It worked over many things very well. So with that, I patented that technology. And when we were just chatting, we were finding there is a good business potential lying into it. So when I was talking with Abhay, with all our thought process, it came out that yes, we should think over it. And with that mindset, being I am a first generation entrepreneur, there was no one to suggest or give some guidance over it. I approached IIM, Indian Institute of Management, Nagpur, and there also I got nurtured for this business venture, especially for a new business person. It's very difficult to get the things, especially on financial way and marketing and everything. Fortunately, in the duration of COVID, I pitched MSME. So for the New India Innovation Challenge was there. Fortunately, I got selected in that winner for New India Innovation Challenge, and I got almost a grant of 17 lakhs, which helped me out for I at least pioneering the things whatever I thought.
Excellent. This sounds very inspirational. And I wouldn't say it's just about fortunately. I think there's a lot of hard work that you put into it. So I think yeah, you should take the credit for this. So on that note, I'm very curious, and so I'd like to ask Dr. Abhay here. So when she kind of talks about so much of homework that she did in terms of a PhD and the research for so many years, is she also like that as a person, like doing a lot of back work, like a lot of work before she can really implement an idea or a plan?
Yes, actually, doing a research and moving towards the entrepreneurship is a very difficult journey because, as we know, there are we almost categorize innovations into four types. So one is like innovation for excellence. So most of the researchers and academicians specifically, they move towards the innovation for excellence. So they strive very hard for years and years to get some of the research which can be fruitful to society and all. And then another three categories are specifically are innovations for many. So again, there are some of the academicians who do this such kind of research which can be utilized for the society again. So like a polio vaccine. So you do a research and give it to a society back so that it can be utilized for so many people. And another two is innovations for entertainment and innovations for money. So entertainment is like people do a lot of innovations just for fun and leave it back so that if there is some of the gain into it or not. And finally, the money. And most of the entrepreneurs looking at the creating the money, and obviously you should look at the money in unless and until you will not find it out that it's useful for the like creating the money and all. So we cannot actually do the research for that, right? And that's where there is a like 3:1 ratio. So researchers mostly looking towards the three parts: excellence, entertainment, and for many, and one
Yes.
part is for money. So moving towards from 3:1 ratio is really a difficult task.
It
That's
is
what
a
I feel.
challenge. I agree. Yes.
And that's where actually Kavita is striving very hard to move from this side to this side. But
Yes.
obviously, getting the help of a lot more people from our side, she is doing quite.
Yes. So yeah, like that's very insightful. It's really insightful because it also gives us an idea. Even other entrepreneurs who are like watching this show right now, I'm sure even it's very, I think it's very enlightening, so that we could really understand of how this entire trajectory is, and not very easy. Although you kind of simplified it and just put it in terms of different ways, there are different roadblocks that one encounters once you're on this journey. So what do you feel? I'd really kind of like to know from you, Dr. Abhaya, that um, now there is a lot of challenges that entrepreneurs, especially first generation entrepreneurs, encounter in their journey. One, of course, is like what you just spelled out. But do you think that a woman entrepreneur
Mhm.
has to go through some additional challenges in the entrepreneurial journey, or do you think it's not gender specific? Enlighten us.
Uh, yeah, obviously. Still, we talk always about the equality and everything, but still, there is still a gap between the things. That's what I feel. And
Yes.
specifically to talk about women entrepreneurs, they really face numerous challenges, specifically to make their successful career into it. And these challenges may have we still not like bring it to things, but the gender bias is always there and discrimination is there, even though
Yes.
we say that it's not there, but it's still there. And you also see that there is a limited access to funding and resources.
Hmm.
And again, work-life balances is also a major challenges which women faces. Then
Absolutely.
even most of the time you won't get a proper mentorship and networking opportunity also for specifically for women. And there is also a societal expectation and stereotypes are there.
True.
So specifically to talk about women, women have a lot more challenges to go through it because of some of the incubators and other ecosystem is coming up. So these challenges quite reduced, but still they face some of the challenges into it. That's what I feel.
Yeah, thank you so much for like, I mean, yes, for representing the, the other gender, and to understand and acknowledge that it's not as rosy. And although we might really like the idea of the world being equal, I think we need to start with the idea of equity. Let's look at how many people or how many women, given their own challenges, are a part of the entrepreneurial journey. So thank you so much for acknowledging it. Now I'd like to pose the same question, but with a little more detail to Kavita here. Kavita, I just like to ask you a question here that, yes, Abhay did speak about what from the outside will like make a difference, right? So we're talking about whether it's allocation of resources, whether it is about work-life balance, whether it's about funding. But these are external things that affect the entrepreneurial journey. But what do you think? Because you are representing again, like, one entire gender here. So I'd really like to ask you what happens at the individual level as a woman, right? We can't like take away that tag and just say it's all good. I mean, there is a little bit of who we are and our agenda that we bring to our journey or to our workplace or to our own ventures. तो ऐसे में if you could just tell me कि ऐसी कौन सी चीजें हैं कि as a woman that you kind of realize when you met other women entrepreneurs also, right? तो कौन सी चीजें हैं कि जहां you feel कि ये हमारे challenges हैं and that need to be addressed, not from the outside. Outside we are all aware and we've already acknowledged it. Internally there's a lot of things that goes on here, right?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, when it comes to women, and especially women's, it is there that women's life starts from home. And if at all you get a lot of support and a balanced thing at home, it becomes a easy journey for us. The thing is, what I feel a woman entrepreneur, each and every woman entrepreneur needs a basic thing is hand holding, not outside, but at home. If your partner supports you, if your family supports you and they stood beside you, then the things becomes easy. I'll just like to quote an example because I have a daughter. She is just a 6-year-old, and it becomes very difficult for me to keep my mom beside and go outside for my work. But as I am with my family, a huge support of my family, she lives with her grandparents. It gives me a mental support that yes, she is at safer hand and I can go outside. So this is what actually needed from a family to grow, is what I feel. And definitely family and everything. But many times it happens that बेसिकली ये समझा जाता है कि ये सब इसमें पढ़ने से your growth stops. But opposite thing happened to me, which I would just like to discuss, that by playing with my daughter, I realized that she has some interest in like Uno card games. So while playing with her, I realized that if she is having that much interest, she can play a different sort of card game, maybe vocabulary, which can enhance the vocabulary. So I just, with that thought, in the Corona period, as there was a lot of time, ample amount of time available with us. So that period, I just designed a card and I played with her. She enjoyed that, and that thing just triggered me. If this excites her, it can excite her. It can excite the rest of the society kid also. So with that thought process, I designed a game. Fortunately, that time of period, the Toy-Cathon was announced, and I just entered my card game that was Spell Bee cards. I entered into a Toy-Cathon and fortunately was entered into grand finale of it. And after that, during this entire process, Hamleys is a brand, a toy brand, which is well-known brand of Reliance. So I pitched Hamleys, and then now today it's a product of Hamleys. It is on the shelf of Hamleys for selling. So this is how I think that yes, not only our other thing, like what I done her research and all things are there, but apart from that, I feel if family is there, new prospects, new opportunities, new avenues are there. We have to just look into it in that way and get the things encashed. So that way is
It
what
seems like you have a Midas touch.
I had.
Yeah, it seems you have a Midas touch. Anything that you kind of touch or can get involved in really kind of turns out to be such a beautiful thing. I think that also comes from a quality which which is of staying in the now, right? So when you're staying in the now, when you're like, so when you're playing a game with your child, you're 100% there, and when you're 100% there, the involvement is so high that you can really kind of think about it in like many directions instead of just like doing it to entertain the child or doing a research because you need to do a research maybe for a PhD or later. The idea is to be so involved that it eventually kind of works out or clears a route for you, where you can take things forward. And you seem like a doer, Kavita. You seem like a absolute doer. You're not like somebody who just keep the idea right in your head. You really make it happen. And like from what you said, I totally now want to move on to the idea of, I feel that, people talk about entrepreneurship as being a very solo thing, unless you're into so it's like more of a solo thing. But I personally feel, because I am also an entrepreneur of sorts, I really feel that entrepreneurship is more like a team sport, right? And
Yes.
anybody that you work with, whether it's your team that you hire or whether it's this social incubation, which is your family and friends and very closely your spouse, because when you look at it like when your partners are on the team, I think all of this become a very solid pillar of the entire venture that you're actually working out on. So what is the kind, so you of course said that you have a lot of support because your child is looked after and there is a lot of arrangement in the house that you can literally, so once you're out at work, you can be completely carefree. You don't have to keep bothering it. What are the other things? What is the other inspiration that you get from the social incubation of your own family and especially Abhay, your partner? What are the things that you picked up? Because you're quick, right? You're like a learner. So what have you picked up? What have you been inspired by from these people around you?
Okay. Actually, just before that, I want to say that my venture basically is into a deep tech. So, being it is into deep tech, it requires a huge amount of patience and putting listeners ear all the time to express whatever I experience outside. So, Abhay is means all the way there with me. Whatever happens, I just disposed of whenever he is there. So the things becomes very easy for me. And I said, as it is a deep tech, so when I go outside, pitch for customer acquisition, so the things comes uh, basically I just want to quote what exactly I'm offering so that it will become easy.
Sure.
Basically, I'm into polymeric ceramic and metallic components. I process those components to enhance the life of a component. Now if the life of a component is say for say if it is running for a year, after my treatment it will run for 2 to 3 years. So that way, there is a life enhancement of almost 60 to 70%. Now, what happens that if I give means a customer on trial basis for reciprocation, a huge time period is involved. So that time period is really tough for me because I all the time keeps my fingers crossed where it will happen. It will up to the mark or not, it will break the deal or not, it all things are there. And definitely I want it to last long, but definitely there is a hurry to get a result whether it is working or not. So that way a complete uh, juggling is going, but Abhay is all the way there and whole family is there for me to support for such all things going. So
Excellent.
this is
Beautiful. Yes, so it looks like there's a lot. Okay, I think there's so many people who are being the wind beneath your wings so that you can soar and really go higher. But now I'm going to switch and I'm going to ask Abhay here, because he also dons, other than being your partner, he also heads the incubation center at university, right, Abhay? So now
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you an interesting question. She's working on a component that's going to enhance the life of a component. So in that case, let me ask you, as an entrepreneur, she's just moved out. It's been like a year and a half that you've begun your journey. So what do you think, Kavita? And here you'll have to distance yourself a little as the husband and talk more like an incubation center and say, what do you think she's going to bring as value to a lot of other young entrepreneurs who are looking at people like her as inspiration? So, in terms of values, qualities, and skills, what is it that she brings to the table professionally?
Yeah, that's a good question. I need to answer in both the sides.
Yes.
uh,
And also understanding that this will get over in a few minutes, but you have the same house and space to share later. So
Yes.
it might look like a trick question.
Yeah. So basically, most of the deep tech startups takes a lot more time to bring it to the market, and that's where you could see that most of the incubators are not working towards the deep tech. They will be mostly taking IT or the ideas which are grow up very fast in a 1 or 2 years or something like this.
Hmm.
But fortunately, when started with the Nagpur University Incubation Center, we started with manufacturing sector first.
Hmm.
So in because manufacturing takes almost 4 to 5 years to bring it to the market and to get them stabilized and all. Because the
Hmm.
results and all which we'll be getting, it takes 2 to 3 years validation time period for that.
Hmm.
And wherein you need to have a really a good understanding of the subject as well as the interdisciplinary knowledge of the things. And that's where I think so Kavita have a more what we can say advantage of it, because she already work in a lot more subjects, and she have that vision according to see the problem statement. And in
Yes.
near future, because most of us are striving towards the things that if we have a product, it can actually work for more than 5 to 10 years for that. So once you even if you take example of led light, once you switch it replace the led bulb, so you want that I don't need to change it again. And similar to other products also. So on that front, we are really looking at it that this particularly this kind of processes can change the market accordingly. And that's the beauty of it, that you give us any kind of product or any kind of material, either it's a polymer, metal, ceramic, glass, any kind of it, the life can be increased. And no one can do that, because either you can change one type of applications, okay, properties, but you cannot keep the other properties constant. So if I ask you that you change the properties of that particular product, keeping other properties constant, no one can do that. And that's the beauty of it, because she understands the chemistry of atoms and molecules very well, so she play with that particular part of it. And that's where we see that there is really a future for it.
Wow. Wow. I mean, it's this so kind of good, right? Yeah, you have this husband and you who is also a lot into the same field, but another completely idea totally. So it is a beautiful partnership of sorts. So I'd now like to quickly ask you, because we are in a little time crunch and we have the next session also waiting. I have one very quick, maybe 1 or 2 word answer that I really want. I'm very greedy to kind of know this. What is that one thing you feel about that Kavita still needs to like really like learn as a skill and a quality in order to make her an individual quality, in order to make her like, like an ace entrepreneur or to accelerate her journey? Yes.
Uh, she can do that. I feel that.
Yeah. All right. And then Kavita, what do you think? What is that one thing that you want to quickly learn as a skill, which will also be an inspiration to younger entrepreneurs, so they know that this is all they have to look for, other than everything that we've heard you do? There's one thing, because you're a constant learner as well, right? So what is it, that one thing that you are working on developing as a skill or a quality in you that can really accelerate your entrepreneurial journey?
The one thing is a speed is what required there. If really want to grow with a less amount of time, the speed is really essential, and a good team. You can't work alone. Yeah, that is there, because there are n number of multi dimensions are there, which you can't take care of. So essentially, to grow, a good team is needed.
Wow, that is beautiful. Thank you so much. Over to you, Darshana. I think I've had this lovely chat and I could go on and on, but I'm also looking at the clock. And I know that
Yes,
there are
yes,
sessions after sessions, and
yes.
I would not want to kind of anywhere interrupt that. So,
Yeah. Thank you, Ravika, for completing in time. Thanks for to you. And thanks, Kavita, for giving such a wonderful insight about manufacturing industry and all that. I like your thought that, Kavita, no one can grow alone without team. It is not
Right.
possible to grow. Its team is required to grow after certain level. And as you rightly said, that team should be key part of the any business growth story. And about the speed, I appreciate that speed is required. If you go on a slow motion, your competitor will go ahead of you and they will capture the market and you will be out of the game at all. So speed is required. I always tell my entrepreneur that you have to grow your business with speed and to the scale so that no one can compete you.
I also
I
I think it's a little to do with the women also. This idea, I was reading like a recent research which says that women really want to be like a 10 on 10 on everything. Like the idea of being conditioned to be like perfectionists will somewhere impede our idea of speed.
yes,
So we are never ready to put anything half baked. Everything needs to
yes,
either
yes,
go
yes.
all the way, and I think that is something that we need to learn from the other gender. It's just be like, okay, let's just start moving and let's just start wherever you are with whatever
Let's
you have.
start. Yes, yes, yes. Let's start somewhere. Don't wait for the completion and perfection. Because
Absolutely.
this is very fast-paced world. There are technology and everything is changing at so fast-paced. So if you wait for some time to do the complete for the perfection, then you will be out of the game very soon.
Yeah,
So
that could
it's
be an overall idea, but that can be the agenda because that will really keep us a lot behind in the entire journey.
yes, 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 yes. It's required because when I'm working with the MSME clients, I see that many companies now they have a second generation entrepreneurs are there in the company. Still, they are
Hmm.
running out of their turnover is just 10 crores, 15 crores, 20 crores after investing 50 years in the business. So that's about the speed. They are not so aggressive in developing the business and growing the business. They are just running the business as it. So eventually they are throwing out of the competition. That's the scenario, real scenario in industry. I'm watching this on an
Yes.
average every day.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you.
all
Thank you.
panelists for your wonderful